Jim Nailon, liturgical guitarist, and I'm going to share my arrangement of Morning Has Broken. Makes a nice prelude for any morning worship. I'll go through it and then I'll talk about hard parts in the piece. Then I'll talk a little bit about my ending or turnaround versus Cat Stevens. Then I'll finally show you some variations for the second verse. So, Morning is Broken. Okay, so I played through two verses. Most of what I played in the second verse isn't written down in the arrangement. And I also altered the ending a little bit. When I get to the second ending, I add coming off of measure 19, 20, 21, 22. It's written to just go to the G, like that, but I do a D, C, and then D, and then to the G. I arranged this, 13 years ago, back in 2004, so, I play it by ear and by memory all the time now. I never look at the music, so I've made some choices and changes. So, let's talk through this. Some of the chord shapes here starts out on a G, and then the E minor with a little finger on the third fret of the first string, and then you slide up to kind of an easy A minor, just using your third, fourth, third, and second fingers. Just hit the open A bass, don't hit the fourth string and then when you go down to the measure 4, you get a little glissando from the note ringing still on the second string, which kind of joins that in. That's kind of a nice little subtle D. And I often put a trill in that measure 4, and then C, and G, and then there's a trill written in there, and then E minor, B minor bar. I think that's the only bar chord you need in this arrangement. And then this E minor is really an E minor ninth. Shows the fourth finger down there, but I usually use my third finger to get the F sharp. And then G. And then this would be measure 11, the A minor. You can do a double hammer on. And then the D7, you can actually do a double pull-off. I only write the first one there. You don't have to hammer any of those or pull on any of them, but pull off any of them, but it sounds nice. And then slide on the second finger, coming off that D7 into measure 13 on the G. Grab your thumb around here, on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, or 6th string, I'm sorry. And here you can get a little vibrato if you can shake that hand a little bit. And then you put down an E minor, which is the shape of a normal D minor, but you slide that up 1 fret. And I have my little finger on here so that it frees me up to get my 3rd finger down on the 5th fret of the 4th string. So you're coming off the G with the thumb around. And so the 2nd finger stays the same, and then you... And this is my favorite part of the arrangement. Sliding down into the C major 7th. I mean, that's not a written chord, but it just fits perfect there. So, so you kind of give a little glissando with your 1st finger, part way down. And I often will put a little, it's written to go like that with the C natural, and then, but I often put the hammer on with the little finger there. And then G, regular E minor, A major, and then a D. This D figure, or voicing, you have to, it's got the open 2nd string, so that's a dissonant chord in the D. But you got to use your little finger down on the 5th fret of the 5th string, 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, and 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And then G, a couple of hammer-ons up there. C, pull off, and then back to that D voicing, and the open A, lift off the little finger, which leads you to the G bass. Now my ending is not the Cat Stevens ending. It goes G, and then C, D, B minor, which is I use a different voicing here on the B minor. So I've got my 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, little finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, and 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, the open 2nd string. And then to the E, and A, and C, and you're back into it. And at the bottom of the 2nd page, or measure 31, was kind of a second ending to lead you in, because I play those 3 measures different the second time. First measure I play on the and of 1. Now I'm playing down on the downbeat of 1 on the melody line. And then I have it just a repeat, but you can vary it as you like. So why did I put that ending there instead of the Cat Stevens ending? Because way back in 2004, I was arranging things on Sibelius, and they wouldn't let you put anything that was copyrighted. And I assumed that the Cat Stevens ending was, that's the only part he wrote. He didn't write the song. It's an old Irish melody, but he did these wonderful transitions between verses, and I figured that was copyrighted material, so I didn't want to get rejected for submitting something with copyrighted material. So I wrote my own transition between verses, and it works. It's different than his. If you want to do the Cat Stevens transition or intro anyway, the intro would be you'd start on an A chord, then D, and then down to an E, and a C sharp, 7, and F sharp minor, and then D7, G, C, back to the G, and then you're off and running. And I play his chords when I sing it, but I don't do that very often anymore. But I do play this often as a morning prelude. It works really nice. Okay, so I've talked through it. We've talked about the ending and catch. So the only real interesting variation I do, other than just altering the timing on the second verse, it would be starting in measure 11, the A minor there. So you're coming off the G. And then, so that's the A minor, and then open second and third strings, and then first and second finger, slide them up, third and fourth strings on the fifth fret of the second and third, or third and fourth fingers on the fifth fret of the second and third strings, and then first and the first finger on the third fret of the E string, and the first string, and the little finger on the fifth fret of the second string, and then you slide up to the fifth and seventh, and then put the third finger down on the seventh fret of the third string, and so you get these thirds, and slide those down 2 fret, and then you're right back into the G chord on measure 13. That's C major 7. So you can get a little vibrato. Now, Cat Stevens recorded this in C, and then he goes into D major on the third verse, and then goes back and repeats the first verse in C. That's a lot to do for a guitar prelude. I just do 2 verses of this, do it in the same key. I don't change keys. But it gives a little variation. If you did it in C, you have to go up the neck a lot, and it's not as easy to play. This is a nice arrangement, and it's moderately easy. And the disadvantage in not going up the neck is when you go up the neck on the guitar, it's a lot easier to get the tone with vibrato. So the opportunities you have for that are on the A minor in measure 3, on this run here, on the G when you're doing the starting measure 10. No, that's not right. Starting measure 10 would be then A minor. You can get a some vibrato there, leading into then measure 13. And you can get some on this E minor chord. That's about the only places really that it lends itself to that, unless sometimes on the you can get vibrato here on the third fret of the first string when you're playing a G chord or the E minor. So those are just a few little expression pointers, I guess. I'm starting to ramble, so I think I'm going to wrap this video up. That'll be all for this hymn. Look for more videos on liturgicalguitarist.com, and I pray God blesses your playing and your service.